Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is Syahrizan Fikri bin Mohd Hashim, Bachelor of Business Administration, Economy, BA 250 from UiTM Seremban campus. Today I will explain about why poverty happened in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is an island country in South Asia, located off the southern coast of India, surrounded by the Indian Ocean, Gulf of Mannar, the Park Strait, and lies in the vicinity of India and the Maldives. The geography of Sri Lanka includes coastal plains in the north and hills and mountains in the interior. It is a developing country with poor economy, and the main issue is the poverty. Poverty is about not having enough money to meet basic needs, including food, clothing, and shelter. However, poverty is much more than that. In addition to a lack of money, poverty is about not being able to participate in recreational activities such as having vacation, not being able to pay for medication when illness happen, or not being able to have proper education. These all are cause of being poor. Those people who are barely able to pay for food and shelter simply cannot consider these other expenses. Income distribution is defined as how the nation's total income is distributed amongst its population or people, or sometimes known as a statistical measure of how many people earn or receive various amounts of income. The welfare of an individual in a household will depend not only upon their own income but also from other household members. By measuring income at the household level, assuming that all individuals within the household are equally well off and therefore occupy the same position in the income distribution. Despite the many definitions, one thing is certain: poverty is a complex societal issue. No matter how poverty is defined, it can be agreed that it is an issue that requires everyone's attention. It is important that all members of the society work together to provide the opportunities for all the members to reach their full potential. So the definition of poverty is tied up to income evolution. The absolute income of low-end household may increase, but if the household income at the median increase in the same proportion, the poverty rate will remain the same. As example, probably many people labeled as poor in Europe will not be considered poor as such in Sri Lanka. Now, from the video that we have watched, we will explain why poverty happened in Sri Lanka. The video of poverty in Sri Lanka highlighted about the reason the poverty seriously happened in Sri Lanka. Some of the main reasons are lack of rural development, low income of most people, and lack of education. These factors contribute to the fact that many people lack access to basic infrastructure, clean water, wholesome food, and basic medical care. Poverty in Sri Lanka was also a result of social injustice or unequal income distribution. Some people plunder others' property out of selfishness, forcing others into poverty or engaging in what is known as bribery. A few natural disasters like landslide and flood, as well as certain climate changes, are contributing factors to the poverty of some citizens of the nation. A tsunami that caused significant damage occurred in Sri Lanka in 2004. That was another factor contributing to some Sri Lanka's poverty. Furthermore, poverty can also result from a lack of government support for certain individuals. Due to this poverty, there are several issues emerge and relates to each other issues. One of the issues is rising income inequality. The rise in inequality was driven by uneven access to infrastructure and education, and by occupational differences. Demographic factors such as gender composition of household labor and ethnicity contributed little to total inequality. While there was considerable improvement in educational attainment over the period, the lower and middle income classes seem to have benefited the most. However, little change in the composition of industry sector from which household derive most income. Now, we will continue with issue number 2 from my colleague. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Malinda binti Abdul Razak. So I would like to explain for the next issue, which is the effects of poverty in Sri Lanka. So according to the part of the video that demonstrates by the following difficulties that are prevalent in Sri Lanka, poverty is core cause of antisocial behavior, criminal activity, and theft. So many theories explain how poverty impacts children's development by highlighting the pressures and reactions that they trigger, according to Lloyd 2011. So, one approach to look at how poverty contributes to crime is by looking instances when people steal food from the takeout counters, violate dietary restrictions, and engage in other related crimes. So, urban regions with high poverty rates will disproportionately have criminal activity according to Gale 2016. So, let's look at the video here. I attached from the card video.
Leads to many acts such as antisocial activities, crime and theft in Sri Lanka. And poverty increases the number of slum houses in shanty towns.
Okay, as we can see, the visual of the video made this very clear, which is poverty breeds slums and shanty towns. Okay. Furthermore, COVID-19 pandemic also affects the Sri Lankan poverty. It significantly harms Sri Lanka's economy. It can be shown when the Sri Lankan government announced the biggest economic crisis caused a 3.6% decline in GDP in 73 years in 2021. This is according to Machines 2021. And August 2021, food emergency was announced and food shortage were disputed by the administrations, Sri Lanka's energy minister, which is warned of a financial disaster. Okay. Moreover, at the end of July, Sri Lanka's foreign reserves were $2.8 billion, down from $7.5 billion when the administration took office in 2019. Okay, bank data shows that the rupee has lost nearly 20% of its value against US dollar during that period in 2021, according to the press, France 2021. The result was financial devastation, and unfortunately, Sri Lanka is unable to import the necessary goods. So imagine when people doesn't have any necessary goods, which is for instance, like food. Food isn't enough for them, and countless fields were ruined as more and more people lost their jobs, and the price of necessities dropped. As a result, a lot of people fall into poverty. Food insecurity seems to be on the increase in Sri Lanka, according to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka 2022. Luckily, several methods have been used to fight poverty in Sri Lanka. So, rich individuals provide staff of the impoverished. They offer money and academic aid. Meanwhile, the government also helps the impoverished by poor people get little respite from these things. But poverty needs a solid solutions, which should solve the economic issues and offer service to rural communities, according to Michael A. Rizzo. And final conclusions, for poverty in Sri Lanka is a complex socio-economic problem that has an impact on the people's ability to obtain essential goods and services, recreational activities, medical treatment, and educational opportunities. So there are several factors that contribute to poverty, including inadequate rural development, insufficient incomes, and restricted access to educational opportunities. The situation is made even more severe by social injustice, unfair economic distributions, and natural disasters like tsunami in 2004. Some sensitive towns are the outcome of the antisocial behavior, criminal activity, and activity that comes about as a direct consequences of the poverty. Sri Lanka's economy has been greatly damaged by the COVID-19 epidemic, which has resulted in a fall of 3.6% in GDP, like I said before, and a problem in the food supply. In order to address poverty, wealthy people and the government offers resources, yet those who are underprivileged often get very little aid, providing vital services to rural regions and addressing the economic crisis are two things that the government has to do in order to successfully battle poverty. So that's all from me, and thank you.